And welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. And I am Shanrae. It is so good to be here. We are actually on week 3. We are on week 3 of Counsel of the Day with Shanrae, and we are talking about loyalty. Loyalty on this month. So again, this is a open platform. I invite your comments, your questions, and I will acknowledge you at whatever you put in the platform. I will acknowledge them. And so, without further ado, because this is only a 30-minute segment, we're going to go on and get started. Let me share my screen, and we're going to get started. Okay. All righty then. And let me make it this way right now. All right, so this is week 3 of Counsel of the Day with Shanrae, and I'll be talking about loyalty on tonight. Loyalty in the job sector, employment-wise, loyalty with that. And but before we get started, let me go on, and I am a degreed counselor. I acquired my degrees from Ashford University. I'm a degreed counselor. I'm also a Christian counselor. But before we get started, I do want to do my website disclaimer. So let's start out with this first. Please be aware that due to the nature of the technology that I am using, there can be no assurance of confidentiality when using this online service. It should also be noted that due to changes in policies, all replies are to be used as advisory and informational only and will not constitute an official determination. Information provided by myself, other counselors, religious leaders, or people with life experience are subject to the limitations of current and available material, but the final responsibility for successfully achieving a goal rests with you, the individual. Information online is designed to be helpful. However, this information does change frequently, and it is recommended that clients or individuals as yourself will consult another physician, another specialist, and or religious leader to aid in your overall behavioral wellness. All right. So as I said, I am a Christian counselor. Good evening, CJ. So good to see you. I am a Christian counselor. And so, again, I acquired my degrees from Ashford University. And this is our scripture for the month. And it comes from Proverbs chapter 3, verses 21, the NIV version. And it says, "My son, do not let wisdom and understanding out of your sight. Preserve sound judgment and discretion." I want to read another version that I have as well as the NLT version. And it says, "My child, don't lose sight of common sense and discernment. Hang on to them." And so again, this month I've been talking about loyalty.
This week, I'm going to be talking about loyalty in the employment and the workplace, and then we're going to move it on into something else on Thursday night. All right, so I always do definitions, and I'm going to go on and blow this up a little bit so you all can see, you all can have a better view of the definitions. So, loyalty, again, is a strong feeling of support or allegiance. And then I've defined the word workplace. It says, number one, a person's place of employment. And number two, any or all places where people are employed. All right, so these are the key points that I'm going to be discussing on this evening. Number one, it's to loyalty in the workplace, which is our topic for tonight. Number two, we're going to talk about 6 qualities of remarkably loyal employees. Number three, we're going to be talking about what are favoritism, cronism, and nepotism. Number four, we're going to have our takeaway. And of course, I'm going to leave you all with a nice quote. A quote. All right. So let's go on and get started. Let's talk about being loyal in the workplace. And as you can see right here, it says the definition of a loyal employee is a person who has worked for your company and has always focused on the success of the company. And this includes sacrificing their own time and interest to put more energy into that corporation. These selfless acts are measurable and done on a daily basis. So this is the definition of loyalty in the workplace. Now, it talks about, I hear a lot of people saying, even on the radio, I hear a lot of people saying that it doesn't pay to be loyal to any jobs now. I know my grown folk, they're millennials. And so they talk about mama, good evening, Superwoman. How are you? My grown folk always tell me, they said, Mama, it's not like back in the day when years ago when you all worked. Most people, the most that they're going to be on any job now, it will be maybe 5 years. And she was like, my baby especially, she said most people don't give 20 and 30 years anymore or retire out of a job. And so times are changing, and that may be true. That really may be true. But while you're there, you know, do the best that you can. Be loyal, as well as much as you can be loyal. Do that without compromising your virtues and your ethics. And I strongly stand on that. You will always be recognized and rewarded for this, your type of work ethic and work conduct. So let's start breaking down the 6 qualities of a remarkably loyal employee. And here's a statement that's up under it that was stated by Mr. Jeff Hayton, who is he has his own corporation. It says loyalty has nothing to do with the length of employment and everything to do with your actions. So that's what I was just talking about a little bit earlier. And I want to break it down a little bit. It says, let's get this out of the way. Loyalty has absolutely nothing to do with the length of your employment. So who is more loyal? And this is a question that was posed by Mr. Hayton himself. Who is more loyal? The 20-year veteran employee who does just enough to get by, criticizes you and your company at work and in public, frequently and do not subtly undermine your decisions, or the employee who has been there for 6 months, they've embraced where you want to go as the CEO or as the employer, and they work their behinds off every day to help you and your company get there. So experience does matter. But what this CEO said is that they'll take the 6-month employee every time. They said loyal employees are loyal to your company. They work hard for their pay and are committed to their company's success. Loyal employees may someday leave, but while they work for you, they do their best and often even put the company's interest ahead of their own. So it says remarkably loyal employees hit the next level. They aren't just loyal to the company. They're also loyal to you as the employee. Okay. And even though their loyalty can be displayed in surprising ways, we want to talk about six qualities of a remarkable loyal employee. And I myself, I'm a small business employer. I am an employer. And so I know what it is to kind of feel like I'm not kind of, but I know what it is to actually be undermined, to actually experience of being undermined as the employer with my little small company, which is my music, and when I hire people out and they get paid for the things that I pay them to do musically, and then they don't put their best foot forward, which reflects back on me and my company. I understand. So I would rather have someone that's wholeheartedly there, and they're grateful for being a part of my company. Give their and not, I don't want to say earn your pay, but what I'm saying, because it's give and it's both giving and receiving. They're giving their time and their talents to my company, and then I'm giving them a salary for doing that. And I'm not half stepping. I'm not trying to cut anyone's salary. I don't do those things. So I expect, when I pay someone, I really expect them to have to do the job performance that they are paid for. So I get it. It doesn't mean I would prefer that I have long-standing employees, but if they're not the right fit for my company, then I will take the short-term employee who will give me the 100%, and then I'll just continue to look for those type of people. But I prefer a long-term type of employee. Number one, and let's move this along because our time is winding up. Again, we're talking about 6 qualities of a remarkably loyal employee. Number one, it says they treat you like a person. So remember that when you're in a grade school and you ran into your teacher at say the grocery store, let's just say the grocery store, and it was incredibly disconcerting because you wasn't supposed to exist. That teacher was not supposed to exist outside of the school setting. I remember the first time I ran into my teacher when I was in grade school outside the school setting, and I was just shocked. I was like, oh my God, you wear jeans and t-shirts, I was just like, and you eat ice cream and stuff like, I was just shocked. So it was disconcerting, and they're not supposed to exist outside of school, but you didn't see your teachers as someone who wore shorts and like here and had friends and wore they said a Grateful Dead t-shirt. This is what they say, and actually had a life. And me being a former teacher, I remember being on a cruise during our spring break. I went on a cruise, and about 6 or 7 years ago. And on that cruise, I must have ran into about 7 of my students, my middle school school students. And I was like, oh my gosh. And they was like, Miss Owens, you are here, and so I had to learn how to continually express to my students that we're teachers, but we are human and we are people too. So this here is very true what the theorist said. Okay, so it says your teacher wasn't a person, not as a child, and you don't think that. They're just thinking of you as a teacher. So lots of employees see their bosses that same way, which means that they don't see the boss as someone with dreams and hopes and insecurities and fears. And it says, in other words, people don't look at their employees as a person. They just look at them as a boss. But remarkably loyal employees flip the employer-employee relationship. They know that you want to help them reach their professional and personal goals, and that you want what's best for them, and that they also want what's best for you. Okay, both are at work and in your personal life. Both at work and in your personal life is what it's saying. So they see you as more than just a boss, and they treat you that way. So this is what it's talking about. When you are a loyal employee, when they realize that you're a person along with being your boss, and how that boss also recognizes that they're a person as well as an employee, and they have that type of a good camaraderie, then it's always a good fit and a good setting for all. Number two says they'll tell you what you least want to hear. A good loyal employee will. So as a general, as a general rule, the more rungs on the ladder that separates you and an employee, the less likely that employee will be to disagree with you. Okay, for example, if your direct reports may sometimes take a different position or even tell you that you're wrong. So their direct reports are much less likely to state a position other than yours. And entry-level employees will sing directly from the company songbook. A lot of times most entry-level employees will follow the rules carefully because they value their jobs a little bit more. They're not comfortable. And at least when they're have an audience. So remarkably loyal employees know that you most need to hear what you least want to hear. I'm going to say that again. Remarkably loyal employees know that you most need to hear. A boss needs to hear what they really don't want to hear. Okay, that your ideas may not work and that your point of view is kind of offset and that you did make a mistake. And a loyal employee will tell you this because they know that though you may not care much for what you're saying or they don't want to hear what you're saying, that they do care tremendously about doing what is best for the company and for the employees. I just saw on the news earlier yesterday where they were discussing about 401ks on jobs. And they were it was a segment where they were giving employees advice that once you need to review your 401ks, review them and see if their 401ks are beneficial for you and for your retirement, your up and coming retirement. And they were saying if you find that the 401k has like a hedge fund in there that's not benefiting, it's taking more money out. And so they made the example, instead of you retiring off of $600,000, off of $800,000, that hedge fund took money out towards something that really they had no business taking away, and it dropped your retirement down to $200,000, or whatever like that. So and they said that if you see something like this, do not be afraid to get with other employees and present this to your employer and let them know that this, although they're offering a 401k, it's wonderful, but there's some things in there that is not beneficial. And that's an example of what I was just talking about right here, about how an employer may not like to hear the truth from employees, but a good employer will listen. They will take it into consideration, and they will actually change things for the better for their employees. Okay, so number three says that a good employee they will never criticize you in front of other people. Okay, so they don't bash the boss. Bash the boss is normally a game that's almost every employee plays at least occasionally. Like one of your employees is probably talking about you right now. So that's what they were saying. But partly they criticize you because it's a way of letting off steam. But mostly they do it because we all think that at least some of the time that we can do a better job than the person that we work for. Okay, a lot of times that really is it. So criticism, mocking, sniping you when you're in charge. It does come with the territory, and I've learned that. I've actually had to dismiss a couple of one of my employees specifically for doing that, and it wasn't easy letting them go. But they did break the bylaws. It's not easy letting someone go. So they also chip away at the respect that you work so hard to deserve. So remarkably loyal employees get that. They don't gossip and they don't snipe and they don't talk behind your back. They give you the respect even when you're not around, and that they expect to receive. Now I'm going to put a pause right here. You discussing some concerns with a different with a fellow employee, discussing some terms or events that's happening, and gossiping and sniping and mocking are two separate things. We do have a right to discuss something that may pertain to us or pertain to you as an employee. You have a right to discuss the issues. But when you're gossiping, and there's different, when there's malicious things that are put in there unnecessarily, so and I can do the job, that's different. So I don't want y'all to think that I'm saying that you don't have a right to use your voice and your vote, because yes, we do. But again, it's two separate things here. When you're discussing the issues with fellow employees, that's one thing. But mocking, snapping, gossiping, and tearing down, that's totally different. And this is what number 3 was talking about. Never criticize your employer in front of others. Okay, so we're going to move on to number 4. And all of this is going to come right back to be loyalty. So those that are watching, if you're trying to understand what this it's just talking about loyalty to, this week in the workplace. All right. So number 4 says that they disagree in private. So debate is healthy, like I was saying a little bit earlier. Debate is healthy. Disagreement is healthy. Weighing the pros and cons of a decision and playing devil's advocate, sharing opinions. Every leader wants to hear sharing opinions. Every leader wants to hear what his or her team thinks. And it's not just enlightening, it's stimulating. So remarkably, loyal employees trust that they can share their opinions as freely as you do. In fact, they trust that you want them to, because you and the company benefit from an honest exchange of different opinions at points of view. But once a decision is made, a decision is made. Okay, so again, a good employee, number 4, they will disagree in private with each other. I did have a scenario, but I'm going to move it along. Okay, number 5, they totally support your decisions and you in public. Okay, now because I'm a logical thinker, let's see what they mean by this. So what this is saying, that a good employee will totally support your decisions and support you in public. Let's see what this means. So it says, I guarantee you've been in at least one meeting where someone says, look, I don't think this is the right thing to do, but I've been told we're going to do it anyway. So let's at least give it our best shot. And after that little speech, do you think everyone actually gives it their best shot? Is what they were asking. Even when they disagree with the decision, remarkably, loyal employees don't try to prove you wrong. They do everything they can to prove that you are right. Now, I'm not, with me, because I'm a logical thinker, I'm not going to say that I would 100% go along with this here. I don't believe in proving that someone is wrong, especially your employer. I don't believe that, but I do believe, just if your employer, if they want you to do something, you may, through experience, you may absolutely know that this will not work, but because your boss asked you to do it, and I'm not talking about anything unethical, I'm just saying as far as job wise, if they ask you to do this, then do it. And then when you do it, and if and they get poor results, then that's a learning curve for the employer. But you all, as employees, you just did your job. You did it. You spoke your opinion. They overrode it. Okay, and that's a hard lesson for that employer to learn, because I guarantee you they lost money with learning that lesson, which will help them be a little bit more humble, hopefully. So with this, I don't believe in just like totally going against the grain. But if again, if your employer asks you to do something and say this is the way it's going to be done, then that's the way it's going to be done. Whatever, and moving along. It's not your lesson; it's theirs. Number 6. Okay, so of the 6 qualities of remarkably loyal employees. Number 6 says they tell you when they need to leave. A great employee will tell you when they need to leave. Okay. It says that they've never known a remarkably loyal employee that wasn't also just a plain old remarkable employee. And it says, here's how to tell if an employee is remarkable. Because of that, you want them to stay, right? So that's how you know there's a really good employee, because you want them to stay. You need them to stay. But still, sometimes they need to leave for a better opportunity and a different lifestyle, to enter a new field or to start their own business. But they also know that their departure will create a tremendous hole. So they don't let you know what they're thinking to give you plenty of time to prepare. Let me say that again. So they let you know what they're thinking to give you, the employee, plenty of time to prepare. Granted, being willing to tell you well ahead of time that they plan to leave, or just thinking about leaving, means that they trust you to an exceptional degree. This is when an employee trusts their boss. Clearly, they know that you're not going to start to treat them differently or fire them on the spot. They trust you because they've been loyal to you. And after all, they put your interest ahead of theirs a number of times. And now they know that you'll do the same for them. And so that is, to me, I agree with this. That is a great employee, someone that will give their employers a heads up and let them know, listen, I'm going to be transferring over. I'm going to get a new position, a new job. I just want to give you enough time. I'll even help train a new person, or whatever like that for the position. I'm not going to leave you hanging. That's a great loyal employee. All right, so we're going to move on. I wanted to talk about nepotism, okay, because we see this going on even in politics. We just saw this in politics with our former president. He hired his own family to be in positions that they were not qualified for, and they held those positions for 4 years. And they instead of instead of them saying no, I'm not going to take the job, they took the job because it was nepotism that was involved. But let's move on. What are favoritism, cronyism, and nepotism? So let's define favoritism. So as favoritism is the broadest of these related terms, we'll start with this definition. So basically, favoritism is just what it sounds like. It's favoring a person, not because he or she is doing the best job, but rather because of some extraneous feature, membership in a favored group, personal likes and dislikes, etc. So favoritism can be demonstrated, okay, in hiring, honoring, or award. And let me move this on because this is on here as well. Favoritism can be demonstrated in hiring, honoring, or awarding contracts. A related idea is patronage, giving public service jobs to those who may have helped elect the person who has the power of appointment. Hey, Helen, how are you? So good to see you. Um, Favoritism has always been a complaint in government services. I had just said that. In 2002, a survey from the federal government's Office of Personnel Management found that only 36.1% of federal workers thought that promotion in their work units were based on merit. Government Executive Magazine wrote a column called Playing Favorites, and this was written by Brian Friel, Friel. And this was written in October 2004. And he said that he believed that the connections, the partisanship, and other factors played a role in this government, going back to this government position. All right, so we're going to move on to cronyism. All right, the definition of cronyism is a more specific form of favoritism. It refers to partiality towards friends and associates. So, as the old saying goes, it's not what you know, but it's who you know. Or, as blogger Danny Ferguson put it, it's not what you don't know, it's who your college It's who your college roommate knows. So cronyism occurs when a network of insiders, and let me put so y'all can see this. Cronyism occurs. Uh, yeah, Helen, you said so good to see you, Helen. Cronyism occurs. That's so funny. It occurs within a network of insiders, the good old boys who can confer favors on one another. So that's what cronyism is. Let's move on to the last bit of it. Let's talk about nepotism. And that's what I was talking about a little bit earlier. Nepotism. We experienced that again with our last president. And he did that. He did that with his family. He brought his family into his cabinet, and they were totally unqualified. And we American citizens suffered for it because not only was he unqualified to be the president, he brought his children in who were definitely unqualified. And that was a huge act of nepotism. So let's break nepotism down. Nepotism is an even narrower form of favoritism, coming from, let's say, the Italian word for nephew, and it covers favoritism to members of the family. Both nepotism and cronyism, and let me say, both nepotism and cronyism are often at work when political parties recruit candidates for public office, like I just said. Like I just said, what we had to live with the last 4 years before our present President Biden. We experienced nepotism, the American people, for 4 years, and it was not beneficial for us as American people. So let's ask this question now. All right, what do favoritism, cronyism, and nepotism have to do with ethics? This is the question. I'm going to ask it again. What does favoritism, cronyism, and nepotism have to do with ethics? Because ethics and loyalty go hand in hand with everything. So let's see. One of the most basic themes in ethics is fairness. Stated this way by Aristotle. That's one of my favorite theorists who I studied. I believe in virtue ethics. Aristotle. Okay, Aristotle quoted that equals should be treated equally and unequals unequally. Favoritism, cronyism, and nepotism all interfere with fairness because they give undue advantage to someone who does not necessarily merit this treatment. Like I was just talking about. I'm going to go back. I was just talking about. So in the public sphere, favoritism, cronyism, and nepotism also undermine the common good. So when someone is granted a position because of connections, rather than because of he or she has the best credentials and experience, the service that person renders to the public may be inferior. What I was just talking about. Okay. Also, because favoritism is often covert. Few elected officials are foolish enough to show open partiality to their friends and their family. Again, we just lived through that with our former president. Okay, so this practice undercuts the transparency that should be part of governmental hiring and contracting processes. So we're gonna talk about our summary. And I'm going to read it from here. Our summary for this whole today, because I have to talk about loyal in every, I'm a behavior specialist. So I like to deal with behavior in every aspect of our world and our life. So this week I'll be talking about loyalty in the workplace and stuff like that, and additions to that, I should say. But here's the summary. It says that loyal employees are loyal to your company. They work hard for their pay and are committed to your company's success. Loyal employees may someday leave. More likely they are going to leave. But while they work for you, they do their best and often even put the company's interest ahead of their own. So remarkably, loyal employees hit the next level. They aren't just loyal to the company, they're also loyal to you even though their loyalty can be displayed in surprising ways. So that is our summary. I want to leave you all with a final quote. And I really like this. This quote is from, he's a CEO, Harvey Mackay. It says that employee loyalty begins with employee loyalty. Employee loyalty begins with employer loyalty. Your employees should know that if they do the job that they were hired to do with a reasonable amount of competence and efficiency, that you, as their employer, you will support them. Again, this is quoted by CEO Mr. Harvey Mackay. All right, then. So we're gonna move this along. I have to show where my findings have come from. I have to show you all this. So if anyone wants to see, or they want to go back and see where I found my theories and my teachings from, this is the theory support websites right here. All right. And so this is it for this evening. Okay, this is it for this evening. I will be back on Thursday night. Again, this is a 30-minute segment. But I want to thank you all for participating in Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. May 2021. This is week 3. We are moving by so quickly, guys. All right. Thank you so much. And let me put this on my voiceover. Here we go. If there's a past Counsel of the Day with Shanrae series that you missed or you just want to rewatch, you can go to my YouTube channel at Shanrae Price. Please subscribe, like, hit the bell, and select any past series to watch. All right. Here's the next one. If you are interested in professional one-on-one counseling services, feel free to contact me via Facebook Messenger or at shanrae.price@gmail.com. I am a lifestyle strategist, and my aim is to aid you in reaching your life's goals and dreams. And that is very true. That's that's how you reach your life goals and dreams. That's what it's about. And here we go. Here's the final one. If you feel that this teaching has helped you in a positive way or blessed your life, please feel free to donate a coffee blessing to my Cash App, $Shanrae Cherie Price. Okay, well, I will see you on Thursday night, 9 p.m. sharp Eastern Standard Time. And I'll be talking on a different subtitle on Thursday night with loyalty. Thank you for being a part of Shanrae's Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. This is week 3. All right, we're talking about loyalty this week. See you Thursday night. All right, God bless.